does get into some, these rock star stories, and we have no exception here in studio today. We have the CEO of Bump.com, Mitch Thrower, CEO of lots of previous other companies as well, telling us about how he created this new way for you to communicate here in this world using your license plate number. An amazing idea. We're so excited to go into this day, but you guys can go to bump.com right now and enter the beta invite key, MarketPulse, all one word, lowercase, and you can get in on the action right now and learn more about this new way to communicate. So thank you so much for being here with us. Welcome to the MarketPulse.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So there's so many questions that I want to ask you, and so it took me a long time to come up with trying to just narrow down what I think our listeners would get the most out of today, because there's so much in your extensive background. So I want to first talk about Bump.com and this entire world that you created here using a license plate. So how did you come up with this idea and some of its background?
The genesis of Bump.com came after being involved in other startups and private equity deals. Some of the investors approached and said, find an idea that can scale as fast as a Facebook or a Twitter. Find something that has revenue from day one, and find something, and this is what kind of caught us and created longer research and development, find a place where everyone already has an account. And so the concept, it really was kind of it stumped us for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, could you think of a bigger task?
No, exactly. Well, having had entrepreneurial experiences in the past, which have scaled and have created sort of a significant following, I understood how to get things big, how to create something that's going to be a larger market adoption, but really something where people already had an account. And then it kind of came to us, let's take this concept of unique identifiers. And everyone has unique identifiers. Everyone has little disparate pieces of their identity strewn all over the web, and they're broadcasting pieces of those identity. So, for example, when you go to Amazon and you buy a book, it says people who bought this book also bought this book. Mm-hmm. Your identity is giving you a benefit. And when you go to a certain location, that's called a cookie. Of course, when you're online, there's a cookie tracks that you've looked at this book, and therefore they're trying to make a better strategic product recommendation. And so the concept is, why don't we take unique identifiers, and starting with their license plate, which is the first unique identifier that we're utilizing at Bump, and reverse engineer a way for people to connect with each other. So how do you do that, right? And the first step was, let's take each license plate in the country and let's give it an email address. So every license plate...
So that concept in itself seems like, how is that humanly possible to do that? But I mean, it's all just...
It is. There are 250 million registered vehicles in the country.
Wow.
And you spend 5 years of your life in a car. 5 years. In California, it's probably more like 6. But and there's 70 years of your life that you spend in a relationship with a vehicle. Now, when people think about Bump, the first thing they think about now is license plate messaging. You can now send a message to any car, which for us it's kind of shifting the world towards transparency and accountability, because now you can send a message to someone who's driving, or someone who is parked, or a car that blocked you in, or their brake lights are out, their car alarm is going off. But it's very important to make it safe. So we've disabled texting and driving. The application only works with voice if it's moving. And you can literally walk up to a car in California and say call our phone number, which is 858-551-BUMP, or 2867, 858-551-2867, and you can call any car in the country and leave it a voicemail. Just say the state, say the plate, and then the message.
Wow. So I might have a message waiting for me right now.
You might. In fact,
actually, I went online and checked. I didn't have any. I was kind of hoping I had a message to be like, your
brake light's out.
Your brake light's out. Your sweater's hanging out of the right side of your car, sticking out.
Exactly.
Not just be talking on your cell phone while driving.
Right. No, you can report and rate and rank drivers as well. We have a capacity to give drivers a like or a dislike, which is kind of interesting on any car. And that's really something that's, if you look at the trends of transparency and accountability, you have things like Yelp, Mojo pages, right. You have companies like, you have the eBay seller ratings, which give you the capacity to rate and rank drivers. Although license plate messaging is just one of the 3 parts of Bump, and that is by opening a communication platform around your unique identifier, which is first your license plate. And then obviously you can think about the other unique identifiers that are affiliated with a person that will ultimately go into, and we're not releasing those yet, but so you have a license plate information which is tied to you and where you've been. So we're also echolocation, giving people their echolocation when their car has been spotted somewhere. So if your car was spotted driving into La Jolla, you can get a discount at one of the hotels there just because you showed up there. If you go to the Coachella Music Festival this year,
that's a sensitive subject for Siobhan. I don't think you want to go there.
Sad face. They sold out in like 2 seconds, so we don't need to go there today. But yes, okay. Assuming I was going, like I usually always go.
Right, and the music fans that are there. What happens is everyone that's gone to that festival has identified themselves as a music lover. Just like when you drive and you park at Qualcomm Stadium or you park at a stadium, you say which team you're affiliated with. So we're developing and have built a system that allows marketers and people who communicate to send messages to the masses of people pending where they've actually traveled or where their car has been. It's kind of like a Groupon and a Foursquare that you can't turn off meets a AAA, which brings us into the second piece of the bump formula, which is we provide an enterprise software solution for all the car clubs, all the car shows, to basically process their transactions, similar to Ticketmaster. We provide a system so they can register people for anything that they'd like to that's related to their automotive. But, driver's practice tests, right down to an auto show in Detroit, or a car club affiliated with any of the manufacturers. That's what we do as a software piece. And then the last software enterprise piece is we provide the services for them to manage their group or membership. So we have an enterprise software solution for people to manage all the members in their club in an easy Web 3.0 kind of way.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But it is. You needed to have a way to get the word out for the software services, and that really is our marketing engine, which is opening up a communication platform nationwide, although we've had 27 countries contact us to try and launch Bump in those countries. Places like Singapore, Belgium, Australia, saying, hey, we'd like to have a license plate messaging system in place, which opens up the last barrier of communication between people.
That's amazing. When I was in Dubai just last week, the way that they communicate, like if somebody were to, hop a curb and jump over like we did, people, they call a phone number and enter your license plate, and basically that's how you get a ticket. They don't really have police officers on the street, so that could be...
Did you ever find out if Ryan got the ticket?
No, not yet, I don't think.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned the Middle East, because there are certain places in the Middle East where it's a closed culture, and you'll actually see cars driving around with the BlackBerry Messenger number on the back of their car.
Really?
And it's how people meet. And they go and they stop and they say hello and they meet someplace. If you, kind of think about it. It's also a safe way to stay transparent and also to communicate through a recorded, tracked program rather than just yelling out the window.
Right. Pull over.
Yeah, no, completely. But for marketers, it opens up a whole new world, and also from the standpoint, it really is a wonderful opportunity.
Great. Well, you're listening to Mitch Thrower, CEO of Bump.com, telling us about his latest brilliant idea about creating Bump, your new way to create and connect with your community using your license plate. So go to Bump.com, enter in your license plate number, enter the beta invite key MarketPulse, because that's your secret way of getting in today, your access to you listeners out there. All one word, lowercase, MarketPulse. All you need is your license plate. Go to Bump.com, and when we come back, we're going to get more into our interview with Mitch Thrower. Give us a call, 888-PULSE-08. That's 888-785-7308, or email us at marketpulse@LPL if you have a question for Mitch.
Welcome back to the Market Pulse on ESPN Radio 1700. Now back to Josh, Siobhan, and Chris, your financial consultants here in San Diego.
Forbes magazine, smiling next to Oprah and the Queen.
Welcome back to the Market Pulse. You're listening to Josh, Siobhan, and Chris right here at Words from the Wise Monday. I didn't think of anything more creative than that at this point in time. Maybe it'll hit me a little bit later. But we are here with Mitch Thrower, CEO of Bump.com, who has created a new way for us to communicate here in this world using your license plate. So go to Bump.com, enter your license plate in the beta invite key MarketPulse, all one word, lowercase, and you can get in on that. So Bump.com encompasses so many areas. And how can you sum it up in like one sentence?
That's a great question that we grapple with every day. It really is, for the license plate piece of Bump.com, it really is a way for you to privately, securely, and safely start to receive benefits from the information that you're broadcasting, and also receive communications. So you can now send a message to any license plate in the country, leave a voicemail, or receive a message, and you can also receive discounts and offers through that process.
I think that's just so amazing how connected everything is, and how you can drive up to Qualcomm Stadium and all of a sudden you're getting, coupons for,
10% off the gift store or whatever it may be.
Right.
Now, I got a question for you really
Sure.
quick, just kind of in general. Both cars have to be registered underneath the bump.com in order for me to send a message to Siobhan, if she's driving like a crazy lady on the interstate, right?
Yeah, if you want to rate her driving poorly, yeah,
Right.
she would have to be in the system to receive it, but to actually send it, she doesn't have to be in the system. Every car in the country now has an inbox from an email perspective and has a voicemail. So every license plate in the country has a voicemail.
So you could sign up right now and you could have all these messages of being like,
That's true.
turn your brights off.
Learn to drive.
Slow down.
and we launched just recently at South by Southwest in Austin. So
I was going to talk about that. That's so cool. I went to
great.
school at UT, and the
great town.
I mean, how long were you there for? It's just amazing.
We were there for a long time. It seemed like forever because you never really stopped working, or there's such a social environment there.
The coolest festival too to be a part of, and all the people. I mean, I'm sure you ran into famous people too.
We saw a bunch of people. I mean, Ashton Kutcher was there. I know there was a bunch of folks, running around. Conan O'Brien, and the festival was just fantastic. The music, the gaming, and the interactive portion is incredible. We were accepted by Microsoft in their accelerator program to present on stage. So we actually launched Bump on stage there, which was great for us.
Wow. What was your response like?
It was pretty phenomenal. We've got a lot of people signing up for the site. I mean, there are literally thousands of people that are signing up for the site. We also have messages being sent, voicemails being sent. It's interesting to see the traction. Although it's a new process. It's what they call in Silicon Valley disruptive. When you open up something that's completely new and you try and innovate a new idea, anything disruptive involves a process of education and also people really understanding it and getting comfortable with the technology, because people weren't very comfortable, or at least too comfortable, with Facebook in the early days. They thought, Facebook, wait a minute, all my public information online? Wait, no.
Right.
And they also, back in 97, I co-founded a company called The Active Network. People weren't comfortable putting their credit card online in 97. So I had to convince people to put their credit card online to register.
Don't worry about it.
It's safe, exactly. And also you have changing patterns of behavior, and I think you really notice kind of a line of individuals where if you talk to folks that are under 38 years old, they're broadcasting everything they're doing all the time on Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, any news feeds. Above 38, you see less and less broadcast of everything you're doing, although that line moves up about 3 years every year. So
I mean, my grandma's on Facebook,
yeah,
so
exactly.
I think that line has just pushed up.
It pushed away. Exactly. The world is just getting a lot more comfortable receiving stuff from what they're broadcasting.
We're listening to Mitch Thrower. If you've got a question for him, bump.com, or any of his previous amazing businesses that he started, give us a call, 888-PULSE-08. That's 888-785-7308, or email us at marketpulse@lpl.com. As always, we will donate $1 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation for every call or email that we receive. Or you can post to Facebook. Whatever you want. We'll take the question any way you want to give it.
Excellent.
So, you have on your website, mitchthrower.com, your personal website. I mean, you have tons of lectures, places that you have, all over the U.S., including USD. You got your MBA there, right?
Correct.
Nice. But one of your lectures, you talk about your first business idea, putting posters up into colleges.
Yeah, going way back, sure.
And how that catapulted into selling URL passes, and how that concept can go into one sentence. But I'd love for if you could tell our listeners a little bit about that story and how that started.
Yeah, and I think the lesson, I'll start with the lesson and then tell you how I learned it. It was, the lesson is, of course, fail fast and change and iterate. Although iterate's kind of a buzzword that's being used in Silicon Valley and New York and San Diego for the entrepreneurs. That just means change what you're working on quickly. When you say iterate, that means what we did back in 1990, created a postering network for college students to put up posters to help marketers market their product and service to students. It was, I would call it a clear failure. We had one client, one customer. It was a ticket merchant, and his check bounced. Right.
So it was a good client.
It was a good client, right? So we immediately changed. We stopped doing the postering network, and we started doing a booklet for students studying abroad and selling products and services in this booklet. The booklet was called The Passport. I co-founded this company with a gentleman named Todd Adelman back in Connecticut, where I was originally from, and net, we went from 0 to $1.5 million in 6 months in sales, not from postering, not from the books selling, because we distributed it for free, and not from the advertisers we sold the ads to, but from selling, of all things, Eurail passes. And we put an ad, and we received a commission on Eurail passes in this book. So we went from, you know, a postering network to a publishing company to a media and advertising company, and ended up becoming a travel company and selling a significant number of travel products to college students before they went abroad. So the lesson there really is fail fast, change, and iterate. And I think entrepreneurs don't really understand the concept of sunk cost, and it's where a lot of entrepreneurs trip, is they work on something so hard and like, whoa, I put so much money and so much time into this, I have to keep going, we have to make it work. And you just can't push a boulder uphill. You've got to be at the top of a hill with a snowball, and you have to push it downhill to make something big. So,
wow. But you had, you know, the URL passes, how it got connected with your organization was you were trying to sell something, and she was like, put your money where your mouth is or something.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Great. Oh, wow, you've definitely looked at the lecture. Yeah, that's it. I do have lectures on the MitchThrower.com site, and it's a very PR hypey site, so if anyone goes there, I apologize. It's basically designed to, you know, put the word out of the projects we're working on. And a few years ago, I participated I was a guest on a TV show called The Bachelor. And so whenever you're on that show, you have so many people that start tweeting and writing articles and all this research about you. So we had to have kind of a page out there to let the world know what we were working on. But long story short, back to that, yeah, this woman who I was originally selling the concept to, I said, hey, will you put an ad in the page? And she goes, no. Because I asked for $250,000 for Eurail to be a part of this back in 1990. You know, I was just a kid in a suit. And she didn't do it. She actually laughed when I gave her the pricing proposal. I think it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. And
like, really? Come on.
Yeah, come on. And so she actually ended up saying, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'll let you sell it, put your money where your mouth is, and I'll give you commission for every Eurail pass you sell. And I think we knocked her socks off by
well, you said
selling.
$1.5 million?
Yeah, $1.5 million. We actually did millions of dollars in Eurail pass sales. We were the fastest growing Eurail pass sales entity until we sold it in 1997.
Wow.
So it was a great
What
path.
does she say now?
You know, I tried to contact her on Facebook. I haven't heard back. You know, so.
Well, you made her wealthy, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Eurail Corporation does quite well with those Eurail pass sales.
Oh, yeah. That's how I traveled Europe. I mean, there's no real other way to do it.
Yeah, and one of the last things we did was, if you remember paper ticketing, and really before the web, this was 1990, right? I mean, we're talking in the days of AOL, CompuServe.
Dial-up internet.
Dial-up internet. You remember the sound. We actually took the Eurail pass ordering system and migrated it online, which was my first entree into kind of the interactive space. It was allow you to go through this process of ordering a Eurail pass online and develop a simple system to make it easy for consumers.
Nice. So when I went in 2000.
So in 2000, right, exactly. You probably ordered it on the internet, right?
I think so.
See? That's the way, you know, shifting of trends.
We connected back then. I didn't even know. Now you're here today. It's crazy. Small world. No, I'm just kidding.
It is. It's incredible.
We are speaking with the CEO of Bump.com, Mitch Thrower, where you can connect your license plate number to your social network, see where you've been, start to receive benefits. You can go online right now and enter the beta invite code, MarketPulse, all one word, lowercase, and you can get access today to this website. They just recently launched in South by Southwest. You need to go on, get registered, and see if you have any messages waiting for you. Right?
That's right. You might have a message waiting, although we just launched. So the great thing is you'll be in the system and you can tell it where to send the messages.
Perfect. All right, we're listening to Mitch Thrower, Bump.com. When we come back, we will get to that interview. 888-PULSE-08. That's 888-785-7308. Welcome back to the Market Pulse. You're listening to Josh, Siobhan, and Chris. Josh, who's this?
The Cure.
Yeah, buddy.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. I'll get you an ice cream cone on the way home.
That's right. Maybe we can stop by, go find where Adam Coven with Cravery is, and you can buy me a box of cookies.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I will have that. Welcome back. We are listening to Words from the Wise Monday here with Mitch Thrower, CEO of Bump.com. But not only the CEO of Bump.com, also, Active.com, another website that you've created, genius story in that in itself. Here, we've got stories all day long here, but back to Bump.com. You recently launched South by Southwest. You just got back, because that just ended yesterday, I think. Yep,
Southwest. The music portion ended yesterday.
Okay.
Excellent.
Launching there. You've been on CNN, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, the news picked up on the Bump.com story quite significantly. And also, one quick correction. I actually co-founded Active.com back in '97 with
Yeah.
Jim Woodman and
Okay.
Scott Kyle, and it was an incredible growth period. I can't really talk too much about Active Network, Active.com, because we sent a Valentine's Day card to the SEC on February 14th for a public offering, so that we're in our quiet period. So I'm going to defer all the active discussions to the current management team. But it's a great company, and I'm sure many people out there have registered for athletic events or registered their kids for different leagues and teams on Active. So we're really happy about that. But South by Southwest was an amazing experience for Bump. We had a great launch. Did I forget your question in there somewhere?
I forgot what the question
I forgot what the question
I was just talking about all the media coverage that
Oh,
you
the media
guys have
that's right.
had
That's right.
recently. I mean, it's just you go on to bump.com and you can see, you know.
Yeah, the world picked up on it. I think the best and most successful ideas are sometimes the most obvious, and I think everyone at time has had the idea of, hey, I'd really like to be able to send that guy a message or that person a message in that vehicle. Why am I blocked in today's day and age when we can be connected anyway, anyhow, and receive benefits through those channels, or block people? I mean, you can always block people. We have very stringent privacy. We have very strict no texting and driving structures. You know, the CNN, France was big too. We were in a lot of articles in France, interestingly enough. Germany didn't like it as much as France did. You know, for their, obviously the Germanic mindset's a little different. But we were all over, you know, the CNN and Wall Street Journal, and we actually have some more interviews later in the week, because people just say, wait, of course. It's like, of course you can send someone an email. And that's the difference between South by Southwest and other conferences, because South by Southwest embraces new technology. It's where Twitter got its traction. You see Facebook was there. You see all the companies that were new and innovative had a South by Southwest swell, so to speak, and they had a real push. And when we got there and we were explaining, okay, your car has an inbox, it has voicemail, you can send a message to any vehicle, you can send a coupon. If someone drives into your parking lot and you're a store owner, you can send that person a follow-up after they've left. When you drive into a drive-through, we can attach all the order data to their license plate, because we read license plates at 5 plates a second, 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
So the technology allows you to literally capture things. So long story short, we got to South by Southwest, and the people said, great, I get it. How do I sign up? As opposed to most other places in the country, which are sort of lag the culture of immediate adoption of new and innovative technologies. So that was neat. It was neat to have such a wide adoption.
So you have created and sold companies, you know, for a long time now, but how has the economy affected, you know, your ability to execute some of these ideas or to sell a company? I mean, how did that affect you?
You know, there's no question that the economy has affected over time in the capital raise for both Active Network, for Active Europe, because I ran Active Europe as a CEO of a licensee venture for Active for many years. And as you saw the economy really go up and down, you had impact. And now entrepreneurs that are out there, if there's any entrepreneurs out there listening to me, I think there has never been a greater time in history to start something new. The reason is because what happens when markets are unstable? The best place to put your capital is in something that could be stable, which would be a trusted entrepreneurial venture that either you own and control, or that has trusted people that have done it before. And the reason is because you're going to have fluctuations in the market. But when you actually have a solid privately held venture, yes, it's risky, right? All entrepreneurship is a risky venture, but I'm seeing not just a bubble in valuations, but we're definitely seeing a lot of interest and a lot of money kind of held back at the gate, ready to be released to great entrepreneurs.
What makes the businesses that you create so successful?
You know, you hear about the successful businesses, and you know, from a more modest standpoint, there was, you know, a few out there that weren't as successful, you know, on the radar. But you know, really, you want to build the brand, and the brand of Active.com, it's a big brand. And the brand of Bump.com is going to be a big brand, and building all the, you know, staying focused on building something significant and also staying focused on revenue. My secret formula, if anyone out there wants to grab a pen, is you want to find a business that has a reliable, renewable, high margin, low maintenance revenue stream. And that's really the essence of Interactive. The essence of Interactive is you can find things that are reliable, you can have the transaction happen every year. It's a renewable transaction, and you don't have to really do too much to maintain that transaction.
You don't need like a task force of 1,000 people to
exactly,
get it to work.
Exactly. You know, you don't want a warehouse full of products that you have to ship back somewhere. You know, I like digital assets which you can basically hit a button and provide real value and services to folks, like a membership. We're rebuilding a version of an auto club, which we think is kind of AAA 2.0. Everyone has a AAA card. We're building the Bump Advantage card, and the Bump Advantage card gives you free towing. It gives you discounts at car rental, airlines, you name it.
I could use
retail.
that on Friday evening. I had a little car problems. Call my roadside assistance.
Yep. Well, we provide that, and really it's about giving back, and being successful is giving back and providing a service to individuals. I started a foundation called the La Jolla Foundation, and we have an initiative where we send athletic equipment to children in war zones. It's called Project Active, or projectactive.org. And you see the little faces, and you see the faces on these little kids in war zones when they get their first soccer ball, and it's just something that changes the world for the better.
Well, just that sense of community that creates, and the ability to kind of take yourself out of what's going on there right now and be, have that excitement. And I think I was reading about that and just watching, it's coming in down these helicopters, right?
Right. Coppers and strikers, with fish nets full of soccer balls give a very different reaction to a village than you have with, sort of going in to clear out weapons. And there are 25 places around the world right now at war. 25 places at war.
Wow.
And, we hear about some of them, but most of the time when someone's in the bar in Boston, they're yelling, "Kill him, rip his head off." They're not talking about Afghanistan. They're talking about the Bruins.
Right.
So that's a big part. I mean, really finding an area where you're also passionate. That's another thing for an entrepreneur. So many people find an idea because they have an immediate need in the moment, but they don't tie it to something they love, something they're passionate about, because it's going to be hard. And there will be challenges, and you will have all kinds of strange things with people around you, because when you mix capital and people, personalities change. So just make sure that you have a technology that you can build on and the right team.
We've definitely taken the passion for triathlons to a whole other level.
Well, that was the genesis of Active back when it was called RaceGate in its early days. And I was at the Ironman, and it was actually 1994, and they said, and now winning the Ironman triathlon, grand prize of, I don't know what the number was, but it was something like $5,000. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're going to have to figure out another way to make money in participatory sports than racing as a professional triathlete. The prize numbers have come up quite a bit since then, but it's certainly nowhere near what you could do if you create an industry-shifting technology that allows anyone anywhere to register for an athletic event on the internet. The same thing with the industry shifting technology of allowing anyone anywhere to connect with people through their license plates. That's what you want to do. Provide massive value to a large number of people.
Absolutely. I think there's so much people can learn from your story, and you can go for hours and days and days and days listening to your what you've got going on here in Bump.com and that kind of whole venture there. But I think what I like most about you, Mitch, is that you're only just telling your story. You're just telling what you've lived yourself personally. You're not a bunch of made up motivational nonsense.
Right.
You've basically, lived it, and just telling that story in itself. And so I know you have so much advice to give, but is there one other thing that, that always drives you more than anything else?
I give a presentation called the Top 10 Secrets of Entrepreneurship, and that, really is, the last one is brutal honesty. And I think that's the hardest thing because so many people avoid it. And we have an open book company at Bump, which means everyone in the company knows everything about the company. If you can build a venture that's open book, that's fantastic. Another thing I like is, for people to find their number 28, if you remember the game Chutes and Ladders. Mm-hmm. And when you were a little kid, there was a number 28. If you landed on it, you got to cut across all the top to the very top at the end of the game. Remember that ladder on Chutes and Ladders? And there are people in your life that are your number 28s. And if you can find those people that will help you and carry you up that ladder in your entrepreneurial venture, find them. Find them and develop a relationship with them. You have to do that. Find the people who can help you and eliminate the people who can't. Everyone has their cell phone, and in their cell phone is someone that's dragging them down. You got to delete that person.
Wow, I do. You said you only have like 100 people that you should keep in your
right. Yeah, your ideal scenario is 100 people. Of course, I hypocritically say you should know 100 people you should have 100 people in your contact base because it's important to build that level of trust.
How many Facebook friends do you have though?
There's a lot of Facebook friends. That's the commercial personal blend there, which is always uncomfortable.
It's official if it's on Facebook. You know that, right?
Right, exactly.
Is there anything else you want our listeners to know about Bump.com that we haven't mentioned already?
Well, just, I think be patient with the technology and as it evolves, just like when Facebook launched and, where they're really 04, Facebook was very different than what Facebook is today. Bump will be something very different than what it is today. We're trying to get technology out there that people can use and that they're using now. So be patient as we build and grow and try and create a really safe, simple way for people to connect across the country.
Absolutely. So if you have a license plate, which pretty much everyone listening on this radio station does, if you're in your car, get your license plate, enter the beta invite code, MarketPulse, all lowercase, one word, and you can have access to Bump.com today and start sending and receiving messages, taking advantage of soon-to-be Bump Advantage.
Yep,
right?
soon-to-be Bump Advantage. That's right. Launches in May.
New age, AAA. Forget about the old school. We're moving new school, right?
Moving new school. Relevant and location-based.
DMV registration, future
stuff. We're looking at every transaction related to your vehicle.
Wow. Bump.com, go register right now. MarketPulse, lowercase, one word, beta invite key. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Great. It's been great to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
Great
you're
story.
listening to the Market Pulse here on ESPN 1700.
If I was to smile and I held out my hand all done up and